thank you for joining us in another episode of Conversations with Crow. I have some special guests today. I have 3 questions for each and one of you, so you can tell us a little bit about who you are, okay? First one is, what is your name, where were you born, and what is your life purpose? Go, tell us.
Okay, my name is Lydia. I was born in California, and my life purpose, I would say, is just to be happy and fulfilled.
Sweet, go.
My name is Katya Fredrickson. I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and moved here for college. And my life purpose is just to be and to live and to just experience every emotion possible. Okay, so I have like a story kind of similar to like you and your son.
Okay.
So my brother, like, we come from like a line of artists. Like my grandfather is like curator of the Getty Museum and everything. My dad's an artist. My brother has been like an artist since birth, and he's very talented. He's younger than me.
Okay.
He has his own company, like animation. Like he makes his own. He has his own brand called Nerd Venom.
Okay.
And like sells his own products everywhere. And like what has got him here is my mom, like especially because she's just been so supportive, and like she knows that like he's following his passion and he has a gift for this. So if he chooses not to go to college, which is like he's thought about like just skipping college, because a lot of like geniuses don't go to college or drop out of high school because they know from so early on like that they need to that's their path. And so like my parents have always been supportive in like whatever he chooses, because they just know that he's gonna get where he wants no matter what path he chooses to go.
That's what I'm talking about. See, if all the parents were like that, then it'd be.
Yeah.
I think it'd be beautiful. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, now is that the same thing for you? Like, if you were like, hey, mom, dad, I'm not going to college or university, then that'd be an issue.
Well, no. So for me, like, they've always encouraged us to like try hard in school and everything. But if I decide like I'm doing my best, I'm still getting C's, then they're gonna be okay with that. Like, as long as we're pushing ourselves. Okay. And like finding out what we're meant to be doing, then they're okay with it.
They're cool with it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So if I decided like, oh, I want to go to a community college and study psychology, like they would be fine too.
Okay.
So yeah.
Beautiful. Lydia, what do you got for us?
About education or parenting?
Yeah, kind of like what's been your upbringing like? You have good parents that support you, or do you have parents that are like, hey, listen, we already did an agreement with you. This is what you need to do.
Well, I come from, my background is that I'm actually a first generation here, so I'm the first of my family to even get to attend a university and a college, so it's like a very big deal. So it would be different if I was doing this just for them, but I know I'm doing it for myself also, which keeps me like motivated. I know I'm not just here for them. I know I'm here because I want to be.
You want to. Okay.
Yeah, me too.
And at the same time, it's also making my family proud, and I get to like experience something they didn't, which is also something that's very motivating and humbling. But to my family, especially my mom is more like the one who is all like involved in my life.
Okay.
But education is just something very important to her, just because she didn't get to experience that, and she just is so happy seeing me and my siblings have the opportunity and to thrive. So she's never forced me to study a certain thing or anything. She just wants us to do whatever makes us happy, which I'm lucky to have also.
Beautiful. And honestly, like, I think that partially that's a little bit of where it comes from, is that like sometimes we as parents grow up without certain opportunities, so then when we have our own kids, we're like, you should try this. And I'm all about that. I'm all about like that love of like, hey, listen, I didn't grow up with that, you have that opportunity. I think for me it just boils down to when it's a little bit pushy, and when it's a little bit like almost forced, like, no, you need to do this, otherwise we'll stop supporting you financially, emotionally. And that really stems to, I guess, all realms, like I was telling you earlier, like just people also that are trans or gay, that they don't have the support from their parents or their caretakers because of who they are. So anyhow, all right, well, that's good. So you've had a good upbringing then, both of you.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
So.
I've just been like encouraged from my parents' past, because they both attended college but neither of them graduated. And like my mom just always talks about the fact how she wishes she got her degree in this
Oh, yeah.
and that, and like that has pushed me to want to do that. So like they've never been like, you need straight A's, but like I've always just been like self-driven and like wanting to do it for myself and for them because
That's
I
the
know
best.
they didn't. Yeah.
You know what? Similar to you, when I was younger, I would see my dad painting. And then one day he suddenly stopped painting. And I went up to him as a little boy and I was like, hey, Dad, why aren't you painting anymore? Like, I love your paintings, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, I can't afford it. I gotta start working so that way I can support the family. And at that time I was little, I didn't understand, but as I was growing up, that's what's propelled me to be like, I'm an artist. And through thick and thin, I'm an artist. Because I think of my dad and I'm like, I gotta, there's no other option for
Yeah.
me. I'm an artist, you know? So, I
Yeah.
figure.
Dad, he was an artist too, but like he knew, like he just didn't know how he would make money off of it. Like he majored in art history and everything. He just didn't know like how to turn it into something that was like gonna get profit. So he became like a construction worker and a musician and like travels a bunch. But like my brother like saw that like he didn't take that chance too, and that's what pushes him.
Right.
Like he wants to turn it into a career, like something that's gonna sell.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then for some artists that are like myself, it's this whole thing of like, I've honestly used art as a healing agent.
Yeah.
You know, because I did grow up with loving parents, but they also had a very difficult relationship between themselves. They loved all their kids. We're 5 siblings, 5 kids. But between themselves, they were just very rigid with each other, that they always would fight. And I ended up using art subconsciously as a healing agent. Now, later in life, I'm like, you know what, just like I used it to help me heal, I know I can share it with others to potentially use it to heal themselves. You know what I'm saying? So, anyhow, art is just one of those things that has so many branches, right?
Yeah, definitely.
What are you thinking, Lydia? You're a little bit too quiet over there.
I don't know, like I don't know what I want to do with my life at all. Like that's something that I've been thinking a lot about coming here to college. It's just everyone has their majors or an idea of what they want to be, whereas I just have no idea. Like I just have no clue. Like there's no path I have set for myself, and it's like kind of scary, but I'm also okay with it because I know sooner or later, like I will just know.
Yeah. As I told my daughter, she's 18 and she's going to college too. But similar to me, she's like, hey, Dad, school's not my thing, you know? I'm like, because I was asking her, how's school going? She's like, it's just not my thing, Dad. You know that. I'm like, okay. I'm like, listen, you didn't hear it from me, but I'm like, go travel. And she's like, no, I want to go to school. I'm like, okay, then go to school then. But because for me, this is my personal story. After graduating, I started working, and then I figure out how to go to like a college, like a community college, right? But I keep failing and tanking really bad, and it's just, I've always known that school is just not for me, you know? 10 years later after that, I went to art school. And I graduated with honors. I graduated with a little ribbon they put on just because, you know, you were like so good at school. And then I'm like, okay, you know, so I think you're right. I think it's just a matter of you finding, you're like, okay, what is true to me? You'll find it, you know, but explore.
Yeah. I
Explore.
definitely will.
Yeah. Do you see that?
No.
Something.
Well, yeah, that's where I'm kind of struggling too. It's because like I just don't know like what I want. Like I'm majoring in behavioral neuroscience right now, which is like the second hardest major in the school. And it's like, do I want to like push myself that hard to be like pre-med track just for the sake of money, or like do I want to like wait and find out like what my passion is and like study in something that's easier and like gonna give me more of like a college experience? Like I just don't know. I'm lost. And like my mom is telling me like, well, we're paying for the school, you might as well challenge yourself and take what's hardest and then have more opportunities later. But then I feel like, am I doing this for myself or am I doing this for like money? Like I don't know.
You know what, that's one thing that's okay. I love explaining myself through stories, okay, so please don't mind me. Okay, so going back to my parents, one of the main things they fought about was money. So growing up, subconsciously I thought, oh, I guess world's problems is money. So if I have money, then I'll be rid of problems. So I had my girlfriend pregnant at the time when I was 17 years old. Okay. So when my son was born, I went straight to work. I went to construction. Started working day and night. She was going to school, if I remember correctly, and then we had a little apartment, little studio apartment. You know, it was nothing major, but it was a little space that we had cultivated, and I was just nonstop working. But I feel that I lost sight of what was most important, which was what?
Art. Your kids.
My love, right? Love. That was what was most important. I lost sight of it because I thought that if I had money and if they had a safe space where they could call home and they had food on the table, I thought that was enough. But no, I mean, I missed the whole point. You know, I missed the whole point of like raise my son and have a true loving connection with my partner of the time.
Yeah.
But it's what's later in life helped me understand, like, okay, well, I want to make sure I don't do that again and have this nice balance in life, you know. But how old are you?
18.
19.
Okay, see, you're young. You're young. It's one of those deals that what my spirit guys likes to say is like, take your time, just hurry up. Yeah, you know, like he's like, oh yeah, take your time, but please hurry up, because time does move fast.
Yeah.
You know, but it's one of those deals where it's like, think about it, and the moment you start feeling like maybe overburdened or stressed, that's when you're like, all right, that's enough of that for right now, and it'll come.
Yeah,
you know?
and if you just follow the things you like truly care about and love, like you're just gonna end up safe and fulfilled, I feel like.
It's just that. It's making sure you don't lose track of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I run into a lot of people that are like caught up in the grind, like working day and night.
That's what I'm scared of. Like I don't want to be lost in this place that I'm not passionate about at all.
I don't want to have like a routine life where I just go to an office and I go home, go to sleep and
you're
eat
just
and
unhappy.
just over and over again. Like that's what I'm scared of. It's just having like a boring routine life.
I know. I want something that allows me to travel like all the time, you know?
Yeah, just a job where you can enjoy life and still make money and like what you're doing is ideal.
So your mom and dad, what do they do for a living?
My mother, she's done a lot of things. She used to be an accountant, but like 5 years ago, she got her real estate license, and she loves that. She's never dreamed of doing that, but she got divorced with my dad, and she's like, you know what, like I'm gonna like make my own like career and path. Like I'm gonna do what I want. So she did that, and she's been loving it ever since. My father is a superintendent for a construction company, and that's what I feel is like. I feel like he's stuck in a boring routine of like just work, exhausting, going home, sleeping, work. It's just that's just something that I don't want.
Okay. What do your parents do?
So my dad is a construction worker, like I said, and he's also in a band, and he like travels a lot, and he's happy. But my mom, she used to be a personal chef, and like she like caters for companies and stuff, but she really doesn't work that much. Like she's more like stay at home, like takes care of like us, prioritizes us, but it makes me like she gets bored really often, and like that can lead to sadness. Like if you just don't have anything to do, like you're gonna get sad if you're stuck at home all day. And so like that just motivates me to like be busy. Like I want to be busy all the time when I'm older. I don't want to be staying at home like just waiting for my kids to come home. I mean like yeah, I would love to hang out with my kids, but like not every second, you know.
No, and it's true, because those are discussions I have with my wife. It's like, listen, we have 2 daughters and I have my 2 older kids, and that's beautiful, but hey, sooner or later they're gonna be like, hey mom, hey dad, we're gonna pursue our own dreams. And it's like, then where does that leave us, you know? So we also gotta practice and sustain our own passions, our own path. That way, you know, because it goes back to that, like I still have my own life to live, you know?
But I'm so grateful she's like been there so much, because I don't know how I could have like gotten here without her. Like she's like, maybe that was her purpose, is to like be there for like other people too.
Absolutely. No, and I agree 100%. I agree, and I think if anything, like what I'm saying is there should be more parents like that are like, yo, here we are. We know what's important. It's our children. It's our future. You know, it's our and it at least for me, it is my kids that give me hope. It is like people like you that give me hope. Like, yo, these are good-hearted, level-minded people that I'm meeting that mean well for the world, you know? But then there's the other polarity where there's kids that are not being guided, they're not being protected, they don't have safe spaces, and they're growing up with a lot of junk in their mind. So we, you know.
Yeah, I feel like a way to like bridge the gap, like you were saying, is to minimize, like, don't just give your child an iPad when they're like 5 years old and like let that be your way of raising them. Like that's literally how it works nowadays. It's like, oh, we don't know how to raise our children, so let me just put an iPad in his hand and distract him from like what the real world is.
I'll be honest with you. I got an iPad, and sure enough, my 5-year-old was like, "What is that?" She knows what it is. She's like, "Can I borrow it?" And she knows that the minute that she starts yelling and screaming, I'll be like, fine, I give in, I cave in, and I'm like, here, right? But yesterday, as it is, I was talking to Irene, my wife, and I was like, that's enough, you know, because she's not there like 30 minutes, 15 minutes. She's been on there for hours.
Yeah.
That's not cool. Like, we can't allow that. So, you're the first person that brings that up, you know, and
like,
it is true.
Yeah, like we'll be at like Christmas dinners and stuff, and then my little cousins who are like 5 and 7, like they're just on their phone or iPad, and I'm like, can we play like a board game or something?
Yeah, that's
like, can we draw?
That's all online now.
Yeah.
See, my daughters and their cousins, they'll come together, and they're literally around the table, but on their iPads and their phones.
There's like coloring books online and stuff.
Well, they're playing like online games right now. Like what's that? Roblox, and I don't know, whatever you young kids are into, but but they're into and they're communicating on the table through their game, and I'm like, what happened to traditional board game? You know, it's out the window.
A generation of memers.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I actually I have a little brother who's 5 years younger than me, a sister who's close in age, she's only a year younger than me, and then I have 2 stepbrothers that are close to me, my sister's age, and a stepsister who's like 3 years older than me, and then I have more step-siblings from my dad's side, so I come from a lot
of family.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's
beautiful.
But
I actually like it because I think it's just so important to how like you interact with people. So since I'm interacting with people all the time, I feel like it's really easy for me to interact with just strangers even, or just any friends or anyone. It's just, I know how to deal with different type of personalities.
Hence us talking, right? Like, I'm a stranger and you were like, yeah, sure, let's talk. You know? So thank you for that. Kaja, you're like, oh. You're like, what? Nice.
I agree.
Do you have any ideas, regarding how do we bridge the gap between adults and youth?
It's funny because you guys talking about like how to raise kids and stuff. I was actually having this conversation with my mom when she dropped me off here. We were just talking about how like I want to raise my kids, and I was talking about how I want to not be too lenient, like to the point where they can just do whatever they want. Like I want to set boundaries for them, but reasonable ones. And I was just like telling her like how I want to teach them like so much like myself, instead of depending it on school to do it for them. Like, oh, like school will teach them this. Like I was saying how I want to like make little PowerPoints for them, like when they like go through like each stage through life. Like I'm like, okay, they're 13, it's time to take out this PowerPoint.
I love that.
It's time to teach them this like my way, like because I don't trust, like I want to trust them or teach them from my personal experience rather than like a school system. Like I'd be like, okay, like I want to know that like I did what I could to teach them, and like it's up to them to know to act out on what information I gave them. Like it's up to them to use that information.
I love that. So PowerPoints for your kids. I love that idea. Actually, I'm gonna implement that.
That is so fun.
I already talk a lot anyways.
I was to my mom, like I already know how I want to raise my kids. Like I'm gonna make them PowerPoints. Like I just want to make sure that like I just want to like I will, like that's what I want to do. Like I want to make sure they know stuff and like they're prepared for life, because life just throws so many things at you that school doesn't teach you about, and like I want my kids like to be prepared, and like I want them to be able to come to me for stuff. Like I want to, like I don't want to be too strict on them to the point, because kids like they'll do whatever they want. Like
Yeah.
they'll just do it secretly if you
Yeah.
don't let
Yeah.
them be
Yeah.
comfortable with you. So that's why I want to be fair to them.
You know what? Earlier today I went to the library, and I was just walking around perusing the aisles of books, and then I saw this little book that was, I think it's called the greatest money book for kids. And I was drawn to it because I was like, oh, like financial literacy for kids? I'm like, I need that. My parents, you know, my schooling for money was, you gotta work. You gotta work. That was my mom. You gotta work 3 jobs so that way you can support your family. That was my mom. My dad, because he drank a lot, he was like, money's for spending, and he would throw it up in the air. And then the next day he was like, where's my money? That was my schooling through observation, right? So I myself am not that good with my financial literacy. How about you? Did your parents teach you like, hey, this is how you handle money, this is how you invest it, this is how?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I mean, they've always taught me to like save, like just save your money, like
Okay.
don't spend it, and like be wise about spending. But
And are you? Or do you have like some buku bucks saved up?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
I've been struggling more that I've gone to college, but like I know how to like balance my budget and everything.
Okay. How about you?
I don't know how to like properly save money. Like I don't know that much about how like the economy works and all that. Like I don't really know much about banks, like all that financial stuff. But I've been taught like just not to go crazy with money, like save and just be smart about it. But my mom always reminds me, she's like, don't save too much to the point where you don't enjoy life.
Yeah.
Like spend a little. Like life's too short to just
True.
save,
Right.
save.
To be so
like,
tight,
yeah.
so tight with money. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because my dad was always so tight with money, and like it was always so stressful. My mom realized, like, you know what, like you can use money sometimes. Like
Right.
life, if you like, we might die tomorrow, and you have all that money saved for what? Like just use it sometimes.
That's true.
All right, we had to change locations
We're back.
because of the sun setting, but we're back. Were you daddy's girl or a mommy's girl?
Mommy's for sure.
Definitely mommy's girl?
Me too.
But like my dad likes to think of me as a daddy's girl, but I'm not.
I understand that. You know what? My out of my 4 kids, it is the youngest one, the 5-year-old. That's a daddy's girl. But
Yeah.
everybody else is like, whatever, you know. And I'm like,
Yeah.
guys, hug me, and they're like, sure, whatever, you know.
Yeah, I think it's
Sorry. I think like a daughter like to mom bond is just so special, just because like I don't know, girls are so like emotional, and like I'm just
Yeah.
it's not actually it's not even that. I think I'm just my personality, like so many of my traits come from my mom. Like she always says like you're like so much like me, like just everything, the way I act and like the way I like think, like
yeah. I saw a
we
video of her.
definitely-
You like, it just reminded me of you just looking at her.
Mm.
we're just like she just knows like just the way I like carry myself, and like the way I'm just like love to be around people. She just knows that like she just sees herself in me, and so that's why we just bond so well. Like we just are really close.
Cool.
Yeah.
Since like my mom's just always been around more, like around the house, like both of my brother and I are like mommy's and boy, like it's just always been that way. But
Cool.
I love my dad.
You're like, I do love you, Dad. Yeah, I hear you. Cool.
I would say that like in order for parents to become like closer with their kids and like bridge the gap, like they need a better understanding of like what's really going on in their life. So like spend more time like getting to the deeper meaning of things, and like spending time getting to actually understand like what they're doing with their life, what they're passionate about, and just like listen.
Thank you.
Yeah, if we're gonna be talking about like family and like parent relationships, I know that I've had a lot of trouble with it because when my parents got divorced, like my relationship with my dad, like it wasn't really strong, and like even right now, like I still struggle with it, just because like divorce, like it's so hard, like not to like put like a little blame on like one parent, you know. And like I don't regret my parents' divorce. Like I know a lot of parents like get scared too because they're like, oh, the kids, like
Yeah.
what about the kids? But
Yeah.
honestly, in the long run, like if they're happy or separate, it's honestly it impacts the children in like a better way, like than to have like two parents together who just aren't happy and aren't growing kids in like a happy environment. So like I don't like regret that they did that, but I know like with my dad, like it was just really hard for me to be close with him, just because I would put like a lot of like blame like on him, but and I don't know, like he doesn't really view like life the same way I do, and he can just we just have our differences, and it's just really hard to like look past that, and like especially when like we just are really different. But like I know he still like loves me and I still love my dad, but it's just I had like some struggle, and like I still continue to like overlook those things and to be close with him. But my stepdad, for my mom remarried, he always encourages me to get closer to him, because I'm close with my stepdad, and he always like tells me to like just be loving, just to only have love in your heart, and just to be like just to want to get closer. But it is hard, like especially like when it's like with your own family, and they like it makes such a big impact. But I'm trying, so yeah.
Why do you think that is? Like because of the separation, and I guess you're
when people like, for me, it's just that he can't like accept like his own fault, like, and that just like makes me like upset, like when people can't see their own fault, when people think like they're always right, and like that's like my thing, like, you know,
I understand.
like when people can't like accept like some blame, or still have like, or still live in the past, and like and I think like you should just live now, like it happened, like this is where we are now, like let's like make the most of it and not like have any what's it called, like pettiness. I don't know how to like a nice word for it, but like any like.
Because do you feel that your dad's still upset from the separation?
Yeah, I still feel.
He hasn't gotten past that.
Yeah.
You feel that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's been like whenever I was in 5th grade, so however long, or 6th grade, however long ago that was. So it's been like a long time. But he remarried, and like I'm happy for him, but like I still feel like he's holding on to the past.
Got it.
Which is hard. Like it was hard for him. Like I see his point of view. Like he like didn't have like me and my siblings. Like we would live mostly with my mom. So like I understand that, but like things just happen sometimes, and I feel like you just have to make the most out of it.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, what can you do, right? I mean, that's how I feel about it. Is like I tell my partner, my wife, I'm like, hey, listen, if there's ever a time that you're over it, over me and you, just call it, you know, and
Yeah.
I gotta accept that and move on. Is it gonna hurt? Absolutely, you know, but I can't force her to be with me.
Yeah, I think like honesty is so important in marriage. Like if you're feeling a different way, or if you're like growing feelings for someone else, like just tell them, because doing it behind their back is gonna like cause so much more of a stir than just being straightforward.
I think a lot of what I hear, and the reasons why I would lie when I was a liar myself, was I kind of felt like I didn't want to hurt my partner. Like, well, if I just throw a little white lie, you know, then that way I avoid her from being in pain. But in the end, it all is going to come out anyway. So then it's like,
on your conscience, too.
oh, that's a world of hurt for everybody.
I agree. Like the truth always comes out. Like no matter what, like it just does. Like the world just has a way of like doing that.
It really does. I'm definitely, I can vouch for that. Cool.
How would you say like your relationship is with Irene right now?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's
like what do you do to like keep it like
Intact.
yeah, like
just a lot of
like,
honesty.
obviously we're not married, so like we don't know what it's like, but like marriage is something that scares me, just because my parents didn't have a good one. Like I don't want to make their mistakes. Like it's just something that really scares me.
And you know what? Honestly, chances are you will, because I think a lot of us grow up like, oh, I'm not gonna be like my mom or my dad, and somehow, some way, we end up being replicas of them as we get older.
Yeah.
And you just have to really look at yourself and decide. Like, I would say literally, like, break yourself apart and put yourself back piece by piece, and decide who you want to be and who you are, so that way when you meet somebody else, then you tell them, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm working on, what are you working on, and hope that they're just as honest as you. You know, because being vulnerable, being honest is, again, it's almost like a lost art. You know, a lot of us are not capable of that as of yet, you know, and some of us are, you know, like, it's possible, it's just, it's hard. It's hard because we don't grow up in that culture. You know what I mean? Like, I try and be brutally honest with my partner, you know, like last time she asked me, it's like, do you like that girl? And I'm like, yes, I like her, you know, and if I go deeper, then I'm like, you know what, I like her because of this, this, and that, you know. Does she want to hear that? No, but I'd rather just be honest, you know? Yeah. Just like I want her to be honest. And when she's honest with me, I'm like, oh, I'm like, you know? Like one time she told me, she's all like, hey, Crow, you know how you want me to be honest with you? And I'm like, absolutely. She's like, you know how I go shop at Costco a lot? I'm like, yes. She's like, well, there's a guy there and I have a crush on him. And I was like, okay. And I was like, and she saw my face. I was like, right, all sad. And she's like, I can stop going to that Costco if you want. I'm like, no, allow me to grow. Like, yeah, right now I'm like kind of shocked by that what you're saying, but allow me to grow and accept you unconditionally. You know what I mean? Like, I love you, you know, and I want you, like, to be you. You know, and then I said, as it is, I recommend you go talk to the guy. And she's like, what? You're crazy. I'm like, then you really then know if what we have is true. Because if it's not true, then you'll be like, hey, Crow, peace, and that's okay.
That just shows you're like, which is a good thing, you're like really detached from the ego, because like most people would be like, oh, that means like they don't like me as much and like I'm not good enough, but like you're not making it about yourself, you're just making it about her and like her decisions, which is like really
I love to be like free. So, and she offers me that. Yeah. So who am I to not offer her that like same, be reciprocal in that way of like, hey, you're you, enjoy life, you know? But it's one of those deals where we honestly, check in every like 3 weeks, every 4 weeks we check in and we're like, okay, how are you doing? Is there anything about me that is kind of bugging you? Or, you know, things like that. You know, we just have this whole list of things. Same thing, like, she'll be like, I'm like, what do you want me to do for you? Like, I want to pamper you. What is it? And she's like, rub my feet. I'm like, you got it. You got it. Boom, check, you know? And I tell that to a lot of my friends, and my friends are like, rub her feet. Dude, I'm not going to rub no girl's feet. I'm like, do you have a girlfriend? Do you have a wife? No. I'm like, well, but I do. And that's what it takes. You know, that's what it takes, at least for me, to like take care of her and pamper her. Because there's two. It's like we're two worlds. There's two worlds, and each person is their own world, and you're trying to merge two worlds. That takes work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. Yeah. So cool. So I know it's getting late. At the end of like each episode, I have it to where the participants can ask questions to my spirit guide if you want, for advice or just have a conversation. It's open. Or we can just call it a day or a night and go home and eat some cereal or something like that.
Do your spirit guides have any knowledge about like how to awaken the third eye or like align your chakras?
Yeah, I've always wanted to have a revelation. Like I want to just like wake up one day and like
how does one awaken the third eye and like awaken this realm?
Trapped.
Because I always listen to like podcasts about it and stuff, but I've just never found out like the correct like way to do it. Like, do people have different versions of doing it?
So you're this powerful world. You just don't know it yet. Or maybe you just haven't witnessed it yet, right? That's what you're saying about the third eye. You still haven't awakened. That's a beautiful word. Still haven't awakened to understand that you're a powerful being. And you're a powerful being. And then you come together as friends and you're like, let's create this beautiful galaxy. Let's create this beautiful, you know, merger of worlds, right? to add to others, to add to ourselves. Okay? I believe that that's why the system doesn't tell us how to tap into ourselves. That's why it's not being taught in schools, because then it defeats the purpose of having workers. They need us to be asleep. They need us to be dormant, so that way you work from 9 a.m. to 9 at night. You go to bed, wake up, eat your Cheerios or your cereal, and then you repeat the cycles.
It's like the routine boring life
I
that
don't
I
like
don't
that.
want.
That's like what I want to break out of.
So then
Because
that
that's like the path that everyone desires. Well, not desires, but they're like pressured into. And
That
then
people
they
fall
know
into.
there's like something off and that they're supposed to do something else, but they don't follow that route because they're like trapped in this routine.
I feel like
It's
it
so
takes like
scary.
a lot of time and effort to find that like that inner like third eye or whatever, and that's why like we're always kept busy, so we don't have time and effort to be able to find it, and that's why
Like-
people are always trapped in it.
Yeah, and like the norms of everything just tap into our subconscious, and we're just programmed. We're literally programmed to like follow this routine.
since we're kids.
And that's why I
Yeah.
feel also like that's why like our phones also like we always need to be doing something. Our mind doesn't know how to just not be able to do something. We just think for once. Like if we're
Mhm.
not like doing homework, eating, talking to people, we're on our phone, and like there's just we always just have to be doing something.
Like be distracted
Yeah.
from reality.
It's a beautiful design, see? And this design has been in place for countless years.
Mhm.
So when you wake up, you start seeing it more and more, and you're like, oh, okay. So going back to your question, okay? For me personally, what I recommend is see, there's something happening here. Okay? You wanna tap in. Yeah?
Mhm.
You wanna tap in. And you know when you have walls up. The walls down. Okay? Like bring them down, bring them down, bring them down, bring them down. Bring them down, bring them down. The walls are you're blocking. You're blocking it. And I can't tell you because even if I tell you, you're not gonna listen because your walls are up. See that? Okay. There it is. See, take a deep breath. One more. There it is. All right. Go into meditation. Take a break from so much social media, so much phones. You have the answers. It's the only things that you don't do it.
True. That's true.
You're not doing the information that's coming to you. You as young women are very intuitive, very powerful. You're tapped in. You're tapped in. You're powerful women, and you've been propelled by strong matriarch women. Strong matriarchs. Yes or no? You just said it yourself. My mother. Yeah?
Mhm.
That same guidance is within you. That same power is within you. You just doubt it, or you just don't use it out of sheer maybe laziness or out of sheer, I don't know, I'm not you. But I tell you this, I know that it takes work, but not work in the way of like, it's like working now, like where you gotta run a marathon, not like that. It's just, it's mental awareness of when the information comes to you, as it does, I know it does, take action. If you know that like, hey, you know what, I gotta take a break from this crowd of people, or I gotta take a break from school, just maybe, I gotta listen to my body, so I can truly do what I need to do for me, okay? Because we're conditioned to be like, well, I'm in school, I can't miss class. These are my peers. These are, you know, we limit ourselves, our growth. See? So then you need to break away from that. And that's what I'm saying. You need to get yourself, like break away yourself till you're a little girl. Okay? And as a little girl, then you start really embellishing her with a lot of power. In your case, forgive your father. Forgive him. It's not for you to carry his pain or your mother's pain or their relation. See what I'm saying? It's not for you to carry. Who told you that? You're carrying it by default, see? So you gotta make sure that you get rid of that, because things like that hold you back. See? And it stifles you from truly being unconditional. Conditional love. And that's exactly who you and you are, see? That's who we are, unconditional love. But we don't share it because of little things like that that happen. And we get in the way because we want to be referees, or we want to remind the other person that they did wrong. You're young, you're going to do wrong things too. That's the point of life. See that? You're going to go up and down, up and down. Sometimes you're going to be like, oh, this is so clear, it's so beautiful. And then sometimes you're going to be so sad and be like, man, what's the point of living? See? But that's the point of life. And if you understand that, then these moments where you're low, they'll just be like a glimpse, and then you go back up. Because there's no need for that. See what I'm saying? It's like when people ask me, what do you do for a living? I'm just a reminder. That's it. Because all that information we all have within us. So I'm just reminding you. That's it. Because you have, when I met you girls, you're just in tune, see? You're just in tune, and you have your own guidance system, but it could be that you doubt it a little bit. It could be that you don't listen to it. Listen to it. Listen to it. That's your own guiding system. That's your own guide. That's your own angel. That's your God guiding you. See? You just sometimes gotta disconnect from what we perceive as reality. Your reality right now is to be in this beautiful, prestigious university, right? To do good, right? That's your reality right now. But there's a deeper reality. Your reality. And then earlier you said something about money, about choosing. Remember that? About choosing the course in your career. You know what's the right thing to do. But I'm going to remind you. Choose what's right for you. What's going to allow you to be unconditional with you and with others. Because I think at the end, once it's time to step out of this beautiful life, right? When it's time to go. I know you're young right now, so you can't even think that far. But when it is time to go, you want to look back and be like, I lived a beautiful, powerful, loving life, unconditional. And I started doing that at 19. I started doing that at 19. You're 18, right? I started doing that at 18. I started doing it at 19. You don't need to wait. That's what I tell my kids. You don't need to wait till you're 40 like me. You can do it now. You can start living a life where you're clear and you understand what's important to you now. Don't wait till you're older because of whatever, because maybe the other thing sometimes we do is we hold ourselves back because of our parents. We see what they went through, and we feel that we don't deserve to have a clear understanding, that we don't deserve a certain amount of money, that we don't deserve prosperity, because maybe, I don't know, I'm just throwing ideas out, okay? But it could be. But you can live a beautiful, clear life right now. And later in time, when you find a partner, both of you, either of you, you're so clear with yourself that you know exactly who it is that you're not lying.
Do you think you can still find, like, say you're not clear with yourself, do you think you can find someone that's right for you, or you can only do that if you, like, have a clear vision?
Oh, no, like, you can find somebody right now and you'll think that's the perfect person for you, see?
But I feel like you have to be content with yourself to really find someone that's, like, supposed to be with you.
Yeah, but When we're not clear, we'll do whatever it takes to convince ourselves that that is the right person. It's your choice. It's your choice. You can go into a relationship with clarity, or it starts off always very beautiful. Have you ever been in a relationship?
Not like a long-term one, like a real one now.
Have you?
Yeah.
Are you still with that person?
Like,
It's complicated?
yeah.
Okay. In the beginning?
But I feel like the relationship, like before it, like I didn't know much about myself, my own problems, but like during it and like after it, like I came to realize like so many feelings and like reasons of why I am the way I am. And like a lot of it comes from like growing up in like divorced home and stuff, and like why I have so many problems. But it's helped me like, even though I think you should like find yourself like alone, I think other people can help you find yourself as well. And they make you realize things about yourself.
If you're willing to work through it together, it's a partnership. And that goes back to where you asking me about Irene and I. You asked me, how are you and Irene doing? I said, oh, beautiful. Because we have a partnership and we have agreements. And those agreements can change, but we gotta be honest about them. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it can't just be one person doing all the work and the other person being like, oh, well, if you want to be here, it's up to you. Then that's not gonna work. See that?
So like, how can you make better communication if like you're the only one putting in work? Like, if it's not like a mutual like communication, like one person, like the other person's not putting in the work, what would you do?
You just bring clarity to the conversation. Hey, boyfriend, or hey, friend, this is where I'm at. And I'm wanting to pursue a life with clarity and love. And it's gonna take this type of work. Are you in? Yes or no? No, I'm not. But you can text me whenever you want a booty call. Then you know that's he or she's being honest. See? That's it. People will be honest with you. You know, when it comes to that, people are like, no, I don't want that. Or, yeah, put me in. Period. And when if they say, no, I don't want to do that, believe them. They don't want to do that. Because a lot of times as people, we want to fix or change the other person. We're not here to do that. We're here to work on ourselves. That's it. You know, you can be doing what I'm doing is reminding people. That's it. And whether it takes that reminder or not, that's up to the individual.
Yeah.
Are you in a particular relationship that's a little bit?
Let's do it.
Not really.
Are you guys?
It's just
I'm heading over to Tools. See you later, man. Take care, brother. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
That's it. No problem, man. Good night.
Good night. I love you. He's like, what? Men don't talk like that. All right. Okay. So, spill the beans. What? Like it sounds very spotty. What's up?
It's just like it feels like I'm the only one that's like we had like a really good connection, but I'm the only one that like puts in work. Like now that but I'm gone. I'm also like hours away, so it's like.
This person's not in this university.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, they're at home, which is like 8 hours away.
Not that it cannot happen, but long distance relationships are complicated.
Yeah, but it's like I feel like it's good to stay in touch with people. Like
Absolutely.
I'm not counting on anything, you know. Just like staying in touch and like
If you're
keeping
okay
up,
with
like just as I do with my friends. Like we talk on the phone like every day, every other day.
As long as you're not suffering.
Yeah.
As long as when you end up hanging up, you're not like, man, like that was hard, or man, I miss. Is it he or her?
He.
Okay. Man, I really miss him. It's hurting for me just to even hear his voice. If it's not like that, and you're like just straight up, like you're saying, just keeping tabs, keeping in touch, yeah, why not? But if it's becoming complicated in that way, you gotta choose your battles, because you're here, what, 4 years total? So you're gonna go through that for 4 years?
No.
It's your choice, see? It's your choice.
Okay.
I know right now it makes sense, but later you're gonna be like, I'm gonna give him a call. and that's beautiful too, because through that you learn too. It's up to you how you wanna learn. Either the hard way or the easy way. See? Spill the beans. What's up with you?
A lot.
Regarding your relationship
We talked
or
about it for,
friendship.
like,
Yeah, we
6
talked
hours
about it
last night.
last
Good.
night, but I've just like I said, like I realized like how many problems I have. Like it's not like him doing anything, it's a lot me. Like I just realized like I have a lot of things that I need to like learn and fix. Like I just think that I'm a really cynical person, and which is something that I just had from just how the way I grew up. And like it's not my parents' fault. Like it's not their fault that I'm like this way. It's just how I grew up and like what I witnessed when I was younger, and like that's just how I am now. And like it's just really hard to like break out of the cycle of thinking that everyone's gonna hurt you. Like even like no matter what, because I know people are human and people make mistakes, and so I just want to avoid pain like so much that I don't know, I push people away because I expect them to hurt me and I just don't want to be hurt. But like sorry, it's loud, so I just but I've been lucky because my like friend, like the guy, like he's just always like very like understanding and like
what's that back and forth?
But yeah, but I've been lucky just that I've been having someone that like cares about me generally, even though I'm like struggling with a lot of feelings and stuff. But yeah.
It goes back, look, give yourself a lot of love. And we talked about this last time we saw each other in the workshop. You have to. Nobody, like, don't count on your parents or your partners or your boyfriends or whomever or your friends to give you that. And read books that is about self-love, you know, go on, listen to podcasts, whatever, you know this, you know? And between you two, empower each other too, you know what I'm saying? But don't count on it, because you might one day be having a bad day and you're having a bad day, and you're both like, you got something to say to me? Well, no, I don't. You're not gonna empower me today? I'm so tired today. You're not a good friend. It's like, we might not say it in that way, but we might feel that way.
Yeah, I think it's more not to like depend on other people to like make you like feel like worthy of yourself. I definitely feel worthy of myself, but I don't know, like relationships with other people is just like, even friendships, it's like hard for me because I know that people like will make mistakes, and like it's a risk that I have to learn to like be willing to take and stuff. But I'm just someone that wants to avoid pain all the time, even though it's like it has to happen.
Well, look, I think if we look at life like, you know what, it's a platform for us to learn and evolve and grow from each lesson, whether it's a negative experience or a positive experience. It's all schooling, it's all lessons in life. It goes back to what my guide was telling you right now. See, he's gone. It was like, work on forgiving yourself, work on forgiving your father, your mother, that relationship, because it's causing you to sabotage your connections with others.
Yeah, I do that.
And get on it now. Get on it now. Don't wait, because you have so much to offer and you have so much to access to, and then to share. That's gonna keep creating a barricade for you. Does that make sense? Don't need to.
I learned that too, like a year ago, because my parents were like on the divorce basically, and like they were just really struggling their whole marriage, and so we went to family counseling, and like my therapist taught me like the things that like happen when you're young with your parents are gonna like come up later in your life, and if you don't solve that in your head right now, then it will affect you, and it will show up. And like I learned that a year ago, and like, it just stuck with me, and I've learned to forgive people. I've learned to like trust people, even like if it doesn't feel like right, you just have to trust people until they're wrong. Like don't just anticipate it, because if you anticipate it, like I feel like it's more bound to happen.
No, and it will happen, because that's what we're projecting for ourselves. That's what we're asking the universe subconsciously, like, this person's gonna let me down. I know it. Well, the universe is gonna be like,
yeah, exactly.
All right, fine. That person's gonna let you down. You're right.
Exactly. Law of attraction.
Cool. Anyhow, yeah. Remind each other, and gently. The whole thing is gently, you know, because it's not about like hey, Lydia, you should remember now. No, it's like, just a reminder, give love to yourself. Just a reminder, give some love to yourself. My friend, I was in Vermont, and I was so hungry that I started eating really fast. And my friend came to me and he just rubbed my back and said, just remember, slow down, okay? And at first I kind of got offended, like, what the fuck? And I was like, no, he's trying to protect me. He's trying to, give love to me. So I'm like, hey, thank you, brother. Thank you for that reminder. And it was gentle. It was very gentle. I was like, whoa, thank you. I was so hungry that I'm not giving myself the nutrition I need. So, anyhow, thank you both. Stay in touch. Don't feel like, oh, okay, that's it. This guy talked to us and that's it. No, I'm around, and so is Irene. So my family's around, and this is what we do. We love to connect and talk and share information. And I know tomorrow that you'll be like, hey, Crow, do you know about this? Let me tell you about this. And I love to listen to that too. See? All right. Thank you all. I'll have their Instagram. You both have an Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll have their Instagram on the page, so that way connect with them and see if they accept your
Deny.
see if they accept your friendship. But other than that, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for
Thank you
having
so
us.
much.
All right. Thank you both. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.